All right, guys, it's Andy. She blinded me with refractors back here with Double X the Beast here on Grown Men Talking Baseball Cards. How's it going tonight, Michael?
Going pretty good. Been ready to get another episode rolling. Mike, he had to fill in for me last time. He was kind of came in was the closer. He was the Mariano Rivera, in the playoffs.
Yeah, Mike was a trooper. He was playing sick, so he
I
was
didn't. He was tougher than me. I was the Terry Glenn of the of last week's episode.
Oh wow, okay. All right. Well, I just finished up watching the Thunder and Warriors game, and I couldn't wait for that to be over. It was definitely a rough night for our guys. I think Westbrook had probably the worst game that I've seen him play in his entire career. I mean, he was 2 of 16 from the field. It was pretty bad. We lost. I think we ended up losing by like around 20. It was
It's not good.
No, it was not good. Definitely not good. And the game was here in Oklahoma City, and the guy that used to play here for the Thunder, he didn't even play for the Warriors. So I thought we would, have a better chance of winning, but no such luck.
No, no. I didn't get to watch it. I didn't watch it on TV. I just watched updates throughout. I don't really want to call it a game. It wasn't much of a game throughout the butt whooping that we took. But
It really wasn't much of a game. We kept getting like within, I don't know, we'd get like within like 10 or 12 points, and of course, they go on a 6-0 run, 8-0 run every time. They just Curry, Thompson, they just start bombing away threes. You know how they are.
oh yeah, I don't know if you know this, but they shoot the ball a little bit better than we do.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We kind of got into this 3-point shooting contest with them, and we're going to lose that 11 out of 10 times.
Correct.
So let's hear a little bit about this story that you were telling me the other day. This is a classic. I was laughing so hard when you told me this.
Yeah, it originally wasn't a story meant to be put on here, but the more we talked about it, we thought we should share this exciting last 2 weeks that I've had, or at least the one day that I had. It was 2 weeks ago tomorrow, a couple of Sundays ago. So my wife and I, we leave the house. We're driving here through Midland, Texas, where we live, and about a block and a half, 2 blocks down the street, I'm driving around and see a dead cat in the road, and he's orange, and he looks like the cat that comes and visits us outside. He's not our cat. He's just kind of a neighborhood cat, but my kids love him, and we play with him and stuff, and feed him when he shows up, and he likes to hang out in our backyard and things. So he's kind of part of the family. We see him. My wife's already having a bad day, and she starts crying because we see him dead in the road. And so we went and finished doing what we were doing. We came back home, drove by, and I slowed down a little bit to confirm that it was the cat and it was him. So we come home, drop my wife off. I get some shovel and some other utensils so I can go back and pick him up off the road, essentially, so we can bury him. So this is where it gets interesting. I drive back down the road. I park on the side of the street. It's just a little side street. And I get out, and I'm getting ready I've got my gloves on. This carcass is pretty fresh. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Pretty damaged.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting my gloves on. I'm getting this trash bag, getting everything ready to go, and to get him loaded up. No, he doesn't come alive. That's probably what somebody's thinking out there.
Right.
I start to load him up. A guy, I want to apologize to this guy ahead of time, but this man that lives down the street, a couple of houses down, he asked me, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I guess my emotions were running high or something. I said, "What are you doing?" He was just being nosy, Well, I go ahead and I get this cat loaded up in the trash bag, and he's a huge cat, and he's massive. And so I wear size 11 shoes, and I had just bought a brand new pair of Nikes, and so I tried to fit him in the box. He wouldn't fit.
He's going to have a Nike coffin, essentially.
I was gonna have a Nike coffin.
Okay.
That's really the only part of this story that ties into any sports or anything whatsoever. But I guess that's the tie-in. But so I drive back home. My wife's still pretty upset and everything. Well, we dig a hole in the backyard, right, and we get him buried. Put a stone over the top of him. It's a nice burial site. I mean, this cat he got a nice nice burial, and so that was it. We tell our kids, they're pretty upset, and everything, and I think this is where the story ends, but unfortunately, or actually fortunately, it's not. I come home from work the next day on Monday, and I can't even say this with a straight face, but I come home and the cat's alive.
Oh my God!
And essentially, I buried somebody else's cat.
So you have somebody else's cat currently buried in your backyard.
He's residing out here in the backyard, and it's probably the guy that I was rude to. And
that was kind of my first thought when I heard the story. Is this guy? He's probably asking you like, "What are you doing?" He's probably thinking like, "Why are you getting my cat out of the road, and then you're taking it with you, like gonna bury it in your backyard?"
I mean, they're probably thinking I'm some weirdo that just takes pleasure in going around and picking up dead cats off the road or something.
Oh.
I don't know, but essentially, this other cat looks identical to the one that comes and visits us. I don't know if they're brothers or what, but just a huge male orange cat. Like I said, the carcass was not in pristine condition, so it was really hard to tell, but they looked identical. But essentially, either I buried the wrong cat or Pet Cemetery is our backyard. Same thing happens in Pet Cemetery and comes back to life. I don't know which one, but I'm pretty sure I just buried the wrong cat.
Well, I'm thinking if they are brothers, I'm sure that the real cat, appreciates the gesture of you, giving his brother.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure
his brother a proper burial.
I'm sure the one that's dead probably does too.
Yeah. I mean, just a funny story. Like, I mean, when you first told me the story, like I didn't know where it was going. I was like, this is kind of starting off strange, but
yeah.
Little did I know it was only going to get stranger, but
the whole thing was strange.
I mean, it turned out good for you guys in the end, just because, it wasn't the cat that you originally thought it was. I mean, unfortunately, somebody's cat. To
make matters worse, like I said, this is a neighborhood cat, and we told our neighbors, that sorry his cat died. They were pretty upset because they feed him kind of like we do and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just us that was mourning the death of this cat. It was other individuals around the neighborhood. And he's alive and well. I saw him today, and he's certainly not dead.
What a way to start off the show tonight, guys. we got the Thunder getting killed at home by the Warriors, and now we've got nice cat story. So let's get into some cardboard here. Well, before we lose any more viewership. One of the things we wanted to talk a little bit about tonight was eye appeal when it comes to cards. And so what are the things that you look for when you look at a card? Like what are the qualities in a card you're looking for?
To me, and specifically if you even tie it into grading and things, but I want to see nice centering. I want to see, great color, those are the two things to me that drive eye appeal. If I see off-centered cards or miscut or something like that, it just takes away from the card a lot. And then when the colors aren't right, whether it's a vintage card or a newer card, it could be one of these new refractors, from the 90s or something. And, when you see the Hulk busting out, they just look terrible.
Yeah, so, nobody wants to see the Incredible Hulk on their refractors. That's for sure. I think that's something that, for the most part, they've kind of cleaned up, haven't they?
Absolutely, it's a lot better. I mean, time will tell on some of the newer ones, but you look at the ones through the 2000s, and you don't see the same problems. Really, after about 99, they're a lot better. I don't know what it was the first couple of years. They're terrible. I mean, they're so bad.
I think like in basketball anyway, I think the 97s are the last ones that I can remember seeing a lot of that on.
Yeah.
Was it a problem in
98s
98?
will do it a little bit. Some
Okay.
of the inserts in 98 for sure will do it a little bit, but not really. 97 is the last bad year where it's just prevalent throughout the whole product.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the Duncans and stuff like that with, he's really about to just burst out of the jersey.
The 96 Kobe's, I mean, they're definitely prone to some Incredible Hulk going on. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think both of us tonight kind of had a couple of cards that we were going to show that kind of, just kind of shows what we are kind of looking for in a card. So if you want to show something there,
I'll show this one first, and I've only got one specifically with this category, and it's a T206. It's a Cy Young. It's a PSA 4. This card is not mine. I just graded it for a buddy of mine, and I asked him if I could show it on here, and he said absolutely, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
But you'll see, the colors on this card, to me, they just look outstanding. I would rather have this 4 than I would, a 6 that just doesn't have the colors. Obviously, really what's getting this one, it's rounded corners. I mean, the corners are rounded a little bit, but
yeah,
if you just look at colors, look at colors and quality of the centering and everything across the board, this is a pretty impressive card. I mean, you just look at it and it just shines.
That's exactly the kind of stuff that I look for, like in a vintage card. Oh, it's got a nice back too.
Back. Very phenomenal back. And I think both of us have seen, even Pre-War Card Collector, PWCC, when they list, they do what the certified high end and things like that. I mean, cards like this are the ones that I think fall into that category. They just look great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's especially on vintage cards. Like I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I'll show you the card. One of the cards that I was going to show.
Let's see this small card you have here.
This is I've showed this in just a recent video. You can kind of see it there. The glares kind of.
No, it looks good. Yeah.
But the first thing that I do when I'm looking for like a big time card, when I'm looking on eBay, like I'm going through the listings, I'm looking at the centering first. And I don't even look at the grade of the card before I look at the centering. Like if the centering is off, I just move on to the next card. Like because that's like my primary thing. So if the centering's off, I'm just like, forget about it. I'll go to the next one. Like this card, it does have like a little bit of rounding on the corners. And then on the back, and I'm not huge on when it comes to the backs necessarily as much as I am on the fronts. Like,
sure,
I'm totally fine. If the front presents well, like I'm fine with a card, if it has like a mark on the back or even a little paper loss, something like that, it doesn't bother me as much on the back. And even like, here's another card that just has really good centering. And you can see this card's only graded a 2, and it has like a little bit of scuffing and stuff like that. But to me, I don't know, like the overall eye appeal of the card, the centering is definitely the first thing that I look for. Even with modern cards.
And that card's notoriously off-centered anyways, and so seeing one that's centered, it just sticks out.
Yeah, like
in a positive way.
I totally like I dare people to go onto eBay, just look at the copies of this card that are available and see if you can find anything even remotely close to centered. For some reason, that card is
just on the regular refractor though. The base, the orange, they look good, most of them.
Yeah. I think there's actually more PSA 10s of the gold, I think, than there are of the base refractor.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but that's just, that's kind of some of the stuff that I look at as far like, especially with vintage stuff. I'm not as concerned with like the back of the card or, the surface. Of course you want like I do like the vibrant colors.
Yes.
But, even like a little minor crease or something like that, as long as it doesn't affect the overall eye appeal of the card.
How do you feel about PSA, the OC, marks, stains, miscut, all the different what do you call them, the
Qualifiers.
qualifiers, yeah, that they do. I don't like to see them on there. I can't stand it when I see one on there.
Well, if it has the OC qualifier, I mean, it's a card I wouldn't be looking at anyway.
That's how I feel exactly the same way. If I see, especially like when you see like a 9 OC, is that really a 9? I mean, to me, it's
No.
And they always say, what is it, 2 grades under, whatever it is. It's not really even a 7 to me.
A 9 OC is like a really weak 7.
I don't see, and I disagree. I think to me it's worse than that. I would rather have a really centered 5 or 6.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I would rather have like a really centered like 1 or 2. I mean, honestly.
I agree.
But yeah, to me, like, yeah, a 9 OC, those are just, I don't know. I'm really big on centering, so if it's not centered, I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, no, hard pass.
Yeah, hard pass. So another thing I've got here, I was going to show off these. I'm about to do my PSA submission renewal. So I've got 15 cards here that I was going to show off here. And these will be cards that, I'll be sending off this week, hoping to get them back. How quick was your last renewal?
I still don't have mine back. I'm at almost a month now, roughly. Who's that guy?
Yeah, this is the guy who didn't play against us tonight that used to play for us. Here he is again.
Some gold.
This is the
is that gold?
That's the first off the line, the orange.
That's the first off the line one, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same way with the optic. Panini really getting after me. That's a gold.
Dr. J, that's the gold. That one's number 10.
Yeah, that one's number 3 of 10. And then here's just a base auto.
Is that Lillard?
Yep.
I heard he was pretty good too.
And then here's the silver premier level.
Luka.
Of Luka. And then I've got, let's see here. I got 3 of these, 3 base Lukas that are going in on this order. Got a silver. Bagley. Got a glossy Edgar.
That great mustache.
Great mustache. This one's funny because, and you'll know exactly where I got this, but I actually got this out of a dollar box.
Yep. No, I remember when you got that. Did you get him and a Miles Turner at the same time?
Yeah. So I got this Silver Prism Auto Porter out of a dollar box. He's been playing pretty well since he went to the Bulls.
Real good, yeah.
And then I got a couple of these guys.
Yeah. Old Russell Golds.
This one will just I'll just cut straight across the BGS.
Yeah, just send it in like that.
The raw card review, yeah. Just send it in like that. So I'm hoping to get on these I'm looking for mostly 10s, but I'm sure I'll have a few 9s in there, and I always seem to sneak one in there that's even worse than a 9.
Oh yeah, we all do.
Let's see. So what kind of stuff you been picking up lately?
Man, I've had a crazy week of stuff coming in, and even non-card stuff. I was telling you yesterday, I think I sent you a picture. I don't know if I did or not, but I picked up the Lego Voltron.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've wanted one of those for a while now, and so I finally picked it up. The box is massive. I should have grabbed it for camera. And then today I was at a Comic-Con here locally and picked up one sealed Destro from G.I. Joe's from 1983. So that I love picking up stuff like that, and got an open Cobra Commander. But we're here to talk about cards though, so I'll show a few cards I got. So
okay.
got this patch. This is 99 2000 patch, upper deck patch. This card is 1 in 7,500 packs.
That's toughy.
So pretty tough. Just wait till what's coming next.
Oh.
So that's the regular patch, and then here is the super patch, and you can see the serial number right there. These are numbered to 25. So if the other one's 1 in 12 and 25,
okay.
What you said? These, if the other ones are 1 in 7,500, what do you think these are?
Wow. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it's
so, there's Grant Hill has 2 of the regular patches and then 2 of the super patches, and I was able to knock out 3 of the 4 this week. And look at that patch.
Wow, that's another super patch.
It's another super patch. This is the other super patch. You can see the 4 of 25 right here in the middle. And you can see, too, like the poses. He's got different poses for every card.
Those are pretty nasty with the color breaks.
They are, and they're really thick cards. I don't know how well we can tell it right there. But
oh, yeah.
It's a lot of color breaks. But I've been collecting Hill for years, and it's really the first chance I've had to buy the 2 super patches. The other card I got this. This is just my same card. I got this back from PSA. I sent it in the same time as the other stuff, but got it back, and it came back an 8. My Star Ruby's number 1. I thought it would be a 7 or an 8. I thought it had a little bit better than 50% chance of being an 8. So I was happy. I really don't care the grade so much. I just wanted it to come back authentic, at this point in time with some of these cards.
You wanted to come back.
I knew it was, but
you want it to be authentic and unaltered.
And then I picked this up. This came with the 2 super patches, and this is a Pop 1 PSA 10 Ultra Stars Gold. And anybody knows me knows these just look incredible. If these are serial numbers, tell them what they'd sell for. It's an old label. I like the old labels when you can get them, just because. You think about how long this card's been in that case, and there's never been another 10 graded. So that's always kind of neat to me.
Do you think they were stricter back then, or do you think they're stricter now?
I personally believe they were a little bit more strict back then. But I still think PSA went through a while where they maybe weren't as strict, and I think now, me talking to some of the other guys that are sending stuff in, they seem like the grades are tougher again, like they used to be. So I don't know for sure. It's hard to say. It's one of those subjective things, but personally, I think maybe through the 2000s there for a while they were certainly tough, and then maybe back a few years ago I think they got a little bit easier. Just from what I saw, maybe they hired a bunch of people and they were new. I don't know, but now I think they're back to they're pretty tough again.
Yeah, like to me, I think I don't know. It's always been kind of like on a case by case basis, I guess. Like when I send in my orders, like I've definitely had some in the past where I thought, man, I was, fortunate on this one. Then I've had other ones where I thought my cards were just as good as the previous order, but they just got hammered. You always hear about the grader of death, stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, it's just when you have human beings doing this, so there's going to be a lot of screw ups in your favor, and there's going to be some that go against you. So,
well, if all the information is right and everything you hear is correct, what is they're supposed to take under 45 seconds per card or something like that.
Yeah.
And you always hear that 2 guys look over each card. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that.
I definitely don't believe that on all cards, because there's no way they're spending that kind of time on some of these, $10 cards that get submitted. There's no way they're having
2
people.
I feel the same way. So, when you send these in, I think it's one guy that literally does this. He's looks it over and looks for any just thing that just stands out as a flaw. And if he doesn't see anything, maybe he looks it over a little bit better, and then he goes from there. I mean, he's spending a minute maybe looking at it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you'll probably agree with this. Like, I know we've both seen cards that have had such obvious flaws on them and got a 10 that there's no way that 2 people missed it.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I look at a card and I say, oh, this is a 9 or 10, and I look it over and there's one flaw that's maybe not so bad, and you look it over and you say, this is a 7. Obviously, 2 people looking at you, somebody's going to grade it more harshly. Well, when you only got one person looking at it, maybe he just doesn't look at it as harshly, and so that's how they get in those 9s and 10s.
Yeah, there's always going to be stuff that gets overlooked, and it's just part of it, I guess.
It is, absolutely.
It's part of the game.
You may do a little product review real quick?
Let's see. Yeah, let's see this. Let's see what you got going here.
So I've really gotten to the point where I've enjoyed putting my cards in binders, cards that are maybe, a couple bucks up to, 30, 40, 50 bucks. I just like it where I can see them. So this last weekend I ordered a Z Folio LX is what this is, and I ordered from BCW supplies. I'm sure a lot of you people have ordered stuff from them. It's a leather. It zips up. I just got it in yesterday, so I don't have very many cards in it yet, but I do have some nice Siakams in there. I've been picking these up like crazy too. But this binder, the good thing about it is these cards side load into it. And you can go front to back on these pages. So when you slide these in here, you can see, I can thumb back and forth and they're not going to come out.
Right.
They're in there. They're in there good. As opposed to the old style of top loading them in, these top ones move, and then the pages on these, they're pretty rigid and they more so fold. And so you don't have to worry about creasing a card or something like that because it's this thicker black material. I don't even know if it's some kind of vinyl, I think is what it is, but they're just a lot stronger. Side load, just really nice binders. This one's a 20-page. It holds 180 cards front to back. I think you can get a 25-page or a 30-page, but the only detractor from this, and it when you order it, you can't see the backs of the cards. So if you got serial numbered cards, you're going to have to slide it out if you want to look at a serial number or something like that. But outside of that, these things are pretty impressive.
They look really cool.
It's really cool. And like I said, I like the smooth leather, and I like it's only that thick. That's it. Even if it was full, you're not going to be much thicker than that. And then it's going to, being able to zip it up is just nice. If I had, maybe say you had 500 cards, that you wanted to put in binders, that you wanted to flip through occasionally. just go get you 3 of these, and you're going to stack up, that high, which that's not bad.
Yeah.
Takes up a lot less space, but definitely, get a Z Folio. Everybody should order one. Just keep your mid-level cards in. Don't put your high end and stuff in them, of course, And if I had a request of BCW, maybe they'll see this. I don't know. Maybe somebody will show them this video. But if I had a request for them, I would love to see one of these just like this, with only maybe 4 slots per page, but big slots where you put graded cards in them.
Oh yeah, wasn't there a company that used to make like pages for the graded cards?
Or not Beck, Ultra Pro used to make the 4-page BGS Lab ones, and those things were phenomenal. They were kind of a hard plastic, and you could snap your card. I used to love those, and every once in a while I'll find those, and I haven't owned any in a long time, but I would love to have some of those. But I would love to have some of these built where it's just built in, where you just slide your card in, maybe it snaps in or something. I don't know, but even if it would just hold, say, 25 slabs or something, that'd be really cool. Because if you went too much more than that, it'd be heavy.
Yeah. I can't see it working out like where somebody that's doing like a PSA set or something. It's gonna be like so thick.
No. but if you're traveling to a card show and you just want to take your slabs or your one touches and be able to slide them in there and just take a handful of cards or something, man, it would be really nice. Like going to the National or something. How cool would that be?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if you're watching out there, BCW, I want you to hook me up.
Oh, that's funny you said that. Speaking of the National, I came across this earlier today when I was just kind of looking around, going through some stuff, and I've shown this on a video before.
That's from the Dallas one?
Yes, you can see the dates there. Look at that.
Yep. 1990.
1990.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't you have a fantastic story about somebody you may have bumped into at that show?
Yes, let me find the page here. Bear with me here for a second.
I'd forgotten about this.
Yes, anybody that's been to the National before, they have a bunch of autograph guests. This one was no different, and I just so happened to bump into him. Let me see here. Where is this thing here?
When you say bump in, do you mean literally bump into him?
I mean literally bumped in. Okay, here's the page. And this, how many autograph guests would you say they have now?
Oh man, it's got to be a couple hundred. I would say between 150 and 200. I would guess.
I mean, there's obviously more than what it shows right here, because at the bottom it says Texas Rangers players to be announced. But you can see like how small the list is right here compared to what it is now. So anyways, the guy on the top of that list, Mr. Willie Mays. So I am, let's see, at that time I'm like 11 years old, and I'm there with my uncle who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, my dad, my brother, and my grandfather. It was kind of like a little guy's day there. So we're just like, it's like jam-packed just like it is now back then. Maybe even more, because I mean, like that was, during the height of
booming, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely crazy. So, we're just kind of, the aisles are crowded and everything. We're kind of walking along, and all of a sudden I bump into this guy, and I kind of look up and I see who it is. I did recognize him, but it gave it away. He had this little emblem on his shirt that said, "Say hey." And he had a couple of large security guards there with him, who, if I wouldn't have been a small child, might have had a problem with me bumping into him.
You think you could take him?
No. I mean, I was going to try to come up with like some, cool story about, how I was like an 11-year-old karate prodigy, but no, I wasn't. True. That's not true at all.
Was he polite to you?
I don't, it's funny because I've been asked that before by people, and I don't even actually recall him saying anything to me. I just remember like me kind of looking up at him and him kind of looking down at me, and then both of us just like, going about our business. But yeah, so I literally bumped into Willie Mays, and you brought that up. I have heard a lot of stories about Mr. Mays and his
not being kind to people.
Let's just say his lack of social skills with fans, maybe.
Well, I know he's one of the guys. From what from what I've heard is, don't ask him for an autograph because you may not like the answer you get.
He's probably going to want to get paid. Is kind of the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys back then. And I can understand to an extent, because these guys, they didn't make millions of dollars back then.
No.
So
their name became their company when they were done. I mean, just kind of the way it was.
Trying to see here, like just some of the pricing here. Let's see. I think you can probably here at the bottom. See that 87 Fleer?
Yeah. Oh, it kind of got foggy on us again here. Is that 2,500?
Yeah.
For a wax case of
87 Fleer. I think you can probably get those now for I don't know what, 700 maybe 600-700.
I was gonna say 500. Yeah.
So not everything has. I mean, for everything that's gone up tremendously since this time, there's, all the stuff there in the 90s. I mean.
Oh, yeah. That's just a lot of so just garbage. So I've got one question also about the 1990 National. Think about that. Do you remember? Was it 90 Leaf Frank Thomas's, 89 Griffey, Jordan, or 89 Upper Deck Griffey's, 86 Fleer Jordans? What was popular at that time?
Upper Deck. I'm trying to think here. I know 89 Upper Deck was
Yeah.
super popular at that time. And I don't recall as far as like what products from 1990 were out at that point. I do know that you could get 86 Fleer basketball was dirt cheap. What else was there that I can? I mean, there was. It was just looking through this, like the stuff that people like, the stuff that dealers were looking for. I mean, they were looking for like, Bo Jackson, Jose Canseco, who else?
Paulie McGuire's, Bonds, the same guy, Roger Clemens.
I don't even know if Bonds was like super popular
He
yet.
went to Pittsburgh right around 90 or 91, if I remember right. And that's when he went to San Francisco when he left Pittsburgh. What year was that? Not like 93, I guess, a little bit later.
It looks like from this picture here, like 90 Upper Deck was out.
It's yep.
And I mean, 90 Upper Deck was probably really popular. Basketball really was not popular at all at that point.
All the products were garbage. You had hoops and skybox. I mean, that was it. And
you had hoops and skybox and Fleer. Football, you didn't have much. I mean, it was primarily baseball.
Baseball.
And, I mean, if you go to the National now, it's still primarily baseball. And it's
not
still
prices though. Not necessarily prices. Quantity, yes.
Yeah, quantity. Yeah, quantity. And it's still probably, I don't know if would you say primarily vintage baseball?
Yeah, I'd say vintage baseball. Let's say pre 1980 baseball probably makes up 50% of the show by itself, 60% of the show by itself, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a big portion of it for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's typically when you go into one of the shows, whatever arena they have it in or convention center, usually you can figure that one end always is just pretty heavy on vintage baseball.
Well, I think the way they set up the show, I believe, is like the people that have been there like the longest as far as like having booths and stuff. Like I think they get the front, basically the front tables.
Yep.
So most of the younger people are kind of towards the back. I think is kind of how they do it.
I believe that. I think that sounds right from what I've heard, and that's fine. They've got their system down, and it works. It works well. The one thing I would like to see, we might as well move on and talk to about the national a little bit this year. I'd like to see some of these people that do just bring the same stuff over and over again. Let's see some different stuff. I mean, you got 4.5 months here to prepare. Let's get after it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more variety for sure. I will say every year that I've ever went, I've always seen something that I've really never seen before. I mean, like not just there, but I've never seen it before. I've never seen it ever before.
Right.
So it's definitely the place to be for the rare stuff.
Yep.
Now, are you for sure like if you're going to be able to go yet?
I'm hoping so. We may be buying a house somewhere in there, so it really depends. I'm gonna have to get a little bit closer, probably May or June, and really see where we're at. Our lease is up on the place we're in now, and so we're gonna try to buy something here. So we'll see. It's gonna be tight, and I'm gonna have to beg the wife to let me go.
Yeah, I'll keep the pressure on, and I'll keep putting you on the spot. Each time we're on a video, I'll got to keep the.
Even if I couldn't go for a lot, I would love to be able to fly out, Wednesday morning, be there for the preview, and then Thursday, and even if I had to fly out Thursday night or Friday morning, You know, even if I could go for the preview and then one full day, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, any time there is better than no time. I think that's what Mike said last week.
Yeah,
which is right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen me spend a whole heck of a lot of money just on the preview night before, the preview day.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can run through some money real quick.
I've seen you
be efficient with my spending.
I've seen you spend a lot every day of the show.
That's true. That's true too.
Wednesday through Sunday. Well, maybe not so much Sunday. We're usually gone by Sunday, but
I'm usually gone. I don't like fighting the weekend crowd, and I really love to hit it hard Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I mean, those 3 days. Anybody that goes, I recommend. I always see a lot of people. Well, I want to wait till Saturday. Don't wait till Saturday. You know, go those first few days. Really, really, you know, plan ahead of time, taking off work or whatever you got to do to make sure you can be there those times. Because the crowds are going to be way worse on Saturday and Sunday. Everybody locally that doesn't have to travel, they're going to go those days. They're going to wait till Saturday when they don't have to work. A lot of the deals are gone. A lot of the great cards, you're just not going to get to see them. Even if you're not buying them, you're just not even going to get to see them. So I definitely recommend that. And then I've heard this. Me and you don't typically do the VIP stuff where we get all the Panini autos and all the different packs and things. But I've heard a lot of times those things are gone by the weekend. You know, a lot of that stuff's over with.
Yeah, I'm not real big on that stuff. I mean, maybe at some point, you know, I'll look into some of that stuff more, but I don't know. I really just haven't. I mean, you know, I can remember, what was it? I think it was last year when we went. I mean, we probably do this every time. I just remember it from last year. You know, like we usually leave like on a Friday or something. I mean, we'll just take like our badges and just give them to somebody.
Yeah, we absolutely did that. Well,
I mean,
we were in the shuttle going back to the hotel, I think, but didn't we? We just said, "Here you go." And, you know, I think absolutely, that's the way to go. You know, just share the love.
Yeah, help out somebody else. You know.
Yep.
So what else you got for tonight?
I mean, I don't have a ton. We've got the random 5, of course, coming up.
I like me some random 5. Let's make it.
You ready to move on to the random 5?
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's make it something easy here.
It's gonna be a layup, because this is an easy topic, especially for you. It's real easy for you.
So if I don't just knock it out of the park, I'm going to look like a fool. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I've set you up to not look like a fool because you'll nail this. This one's easy for you.
Sounds like a lot of pressure.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So tonight's random 5, and this is specifically due to actually the 2 cards you showed tonight, or 2 of the cards you showed tonight, the most recent pickup. Tonight's random 5 is tell us the top 5 rookie cards from the 50s that you want, or the top 5 rookie cards, period, baseball wise. It can't be the 2 you have though.
Okay. Are we sticking to just the 50s?
You can let's say I was post-war, because pre-war is a little bit different on the rookies, and so let's just say post-war.
Okay. In no particular order?
Yeah, no particular order.
Let's go with the 55 tops, Roberto Clemente.
Yep.
Let's go with 51 Bowman Mantle. Because, I mean, as we all know, that is his actual rookie. It's not the 52 tops. Everybody always calls the 52 tops the rookie, but it's really not. Let's see. I've got to throw this one in there. 54 tops, Ernie Banks.
Yep,
I would definitely like to have one of those, being a lifelong Cubs fan. Let's see here. Let's go. And this is a card I've actually had before, and I don't know why I got rid of it, but a 58 tops, Roger Maris. I really like. I just think he's like so underappreciated and undervalued. I don't know. I mean, I mean, he had one of the most historical seasons in the history of baseball. 2 MVPs, no Hall of Fame. I
And
don't
on
know.
the Yankees.
And yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And let's see the last one. Let's go with this one's kind of probably like a little bit less obvious one, I think. But let's go with the Bob Gibson.
59 tops.
59 tops, Bob Gibson.
I used to have a really nice PSA 5 of that one.
Yeah, and that's probably what I would be looking at is something like a really nicely centered 5 or 6. That card's notoriously off centered and has all kinds of wacky print defects and stuff like that. But yeah, just a nice clean mid grade. Doesn't have to be anything super crazy. So what are yours? What's your list?
So even though you said it's not the rookie, I have 52 tops. Mantle is number one.
Well, I mean it's not the rookie, but I mean,
It is.
I mean that's an iconic card, no doubt about it. I mean it's the most iconic card in the hobby, probably.
Yeah, I mean I've wanted one for. I mean I've wanted one for years, and I need to just pony up and sell a bunch of stuff I don't need and get me one. But
I'll do it.
I've got that one number one. I've got the 55 tops Clemente number two. That one's obviously big time.
That one's a beast. Centered.
Oh yeah, tremendous.
Lots of print issues too. Lots of snow on the.
A lot of snow with that red border, that red right next to the white border. I've got one that's just unique as a Cardinals fan. It's the 48-49 Leaf Stan Musial.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's actually considered 48 or 49 Leaf. I think it's 48, isn't it? I know it's one of those mid-year ones.
It's interesting.
One of those weird.
They label it 48, but it's kind of been proven that most of those cards, I mean, pretty much all of them were like 49s, really.
They're 49s. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really 49s.
But PSA they label them all as 48s.
They label them as 48s, yeah. That one, for sure, one of my absolute favorite cards from that era is the 52 tops Matthews. I've wanted one of those for a long time too.
Yeah, I mean, you got some heavy hitters in there.
Yeah, those are tough. And then 55 tops Koufax. I've always kind of thought those were, kind of he I'm not gonna say he gets overlooked, but when you compare him to Clemente in the same year, he's considerably cheaper on a lot of the cards.
Pitchers tend to get overlooked a little bit.
They do, and then for me, like this doesn't rank. This is kind of like what you did with maybe with the Ernie Banks a little bit or something. Maybe it doesn't, or the Bob Gibson doesn't rank maybe the same as the other ones. But I love the 57 tops Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a slick card.
No, it's just I like the 57 tops. I like the Frank Robinson out of there a lot too, and some of the other guys. But that would be my five.
Frank Robinson, he's shot up quite a bit recently with his passing, and yeah, that I like that set. Like if you can find like
those are pretty cards.
They are. I mean, like all those from the 50s. I mean, they're pretty condition sensitive. They just weren't taken care of like cards are taken care of now. But that particular set, like that just has just a ton of like print defects and stuff like that. Probably more so than any set that I can think of from the 50s.
Well, and then you go from 55. It's a pretty iconic, horizontal base set, and then into 56 that really has no rookie. I couldn't even tell you any of the rookies in 56.
Yeah, that's a good question. 56.
I literally can't even tell you any of them. And then 57's back to a vertical design, which I like the vertical designs better typically. Just myself. So it's a great set. I think was that the last year maybe that Ted Williams was in a top set, if I remember right. I could be
what
wrong.
Year?
57.
No,
he's on there.
He's in 58.
He's in 58. Maybe that's his last year. And then I know he's got the 59 Fleer set. That's the Ted Williams set too.
Right. And I think he has like he has some manager cards later on too.
Yeah, he does. I know 71 tops. I think he has a manager card and some others. But those cards, especially some of those 50s guys, and early 60s, even the Carly Strimsky and some of these other Pete Rose and some of the guys from the 60s, you know, those are great cards too. But those guys in the 50s, those are pretty iconic cards. I mean, they really are.
You need to go check out Dave Blue Jacket 66. He posted a video today that showed like his mantle collection. Wow. I mean, like pretty much he shows like his mantles from like he doesn't have the 52 tops, and there's a few that he has missing in the overall run, but basically starting with 51 Bowman going all the way to 69 tops. He has most of them in like PSA 8s.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are like high quality 8s, like beautifully centered. I mean, he's like so picky. I mean, but his collection's amazing. Like I think you'll like that one. You'll appreciate that video.
His and then of course Nat Turner's, you know, his mantles that he puts, you know, on Instagram, and I you know, I'm always screenshotting them and sending them to you. Like, check out what he got today, you know, because he's got a PSA 10s of about, you know, of that 18-year run of mantle or 19-year run, he's got PSA 10s of probably 10 or 12 of those, which is, you know, obviously insane to even find them, and then one person own that many of them.
Yeah.
And I think his 52 tops is a PSA 7 or 8, you know, something like that. So I mean, it's, and you know, just gorgeous cards, and people take it for granted now. You look at new cards and you say, oh, a PSA 8, you know, that's a terrible grade, and then you compare it to something like that, and they're just so hard, and you know, just incredible to see those cards.
Yeah, and you know, like that's probably some of the stuff that I'm gonna be looking to pick up. You know, over the next few months, I kind of go in these patterns where, you know, I'll collect modern stuff for a while, then I'll kind of switch over gears to vintage stuff.
Yep.
I don't know. You kind of get that bug.
I need to do a little bit more vintage. I've just moved away from it so bad over the last few years. But I mean, obviously, I enjoy looking at them, and you know, just I like some of the guys who are maybe a little bit lesser known, or guys who don't really sell for as much. You know, I like the Ralph Kiners and, you know, guys like that just kind of sneak under the radars because they're not mantle or maze.
Oh, nothing wrong with those guys for sure.
No. But you can. I mean, I don't know what a 48 Bowman Connor. I mean, you can get a pretty darn high grade one.
You can get them pretty
for
cheap.
nothing. You know,
yeah,
for nothing. I mean,
and I mean,
always cool.
Going back to like some of the guys you used to collect, like the cut autos of. I mean, you like a lot of the pre-war guys too.
Absolutely, you know, I definitely do, and yeah, Hornsby, Ott, and Fox. Those three guys were, you know, kind of my favorite guys to focus on. And then I liked a lot of the lesser known guys, even, you know, the Bob Musels, Al Simmons, George Sisler. You know, some of the guys you don't really hear their names a lot. You know, I love that era and how good some of those guys were.
Yeah, some of the guys like George Sisler and some of those guys, they just don't have a lot of cards.
There's very few cards, you know, and you're absolutely right. And, you know, Hornsby, for, you know, at one point in time, probably when he retired, he may have been the greatest right-handed batter in history at that time. And he has very few cards.
Yeah.
There's really just not much. Like I said, I'm not trying to start a debate on who the greatest right-handed hitter is. So somebody will write in the comments, oh, no, it was, you know, somebody else. But he was pretty impressive. Which I think he still has the highest batting average all time of any right-handed, which he always will, because nobody else is going to come close now. But
yeah, if you go and look at some of these guys' numbers, I mean, obviously, like I think you and I have talked about this before. Like, I don't know how those guys would do against today's pitching, but you know, it's just a totally different game now. But those guys in their day just absolutely dominated. Some of those guys: Lajoie, Hornsby, Fox, Ruth, Gehrig, Hack Wilson.
I mean, Chuck Klein. I mean, what a career that guy had.
Yeah, Chuck Klein for sure.
I mean, some of those guys, you know, they were incredible, and you just don't know about them, you know, like you do some other guys.
Bill Terry, another guy.
Bill Terry is outstanding. You know, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at some of the pitchers, though. Lefty Grove. I mean, look at what his 27, 28, 29 seasons. I think it's those 3 years. They're just, I mean, just ridiculous. Mordecai Brown, Christy Mathewson, some of those guys were just really impressive.
Oh yeah, I mean, and this I don't know. Talking about these guys, it really kind of makes me want to start playing some Stratomatic baseball.
Play some Strato. I haven't done Strato forever, but I can't do it this time of year because you got real fantasy baseball going on. And
true.
During the winter, we should have been doing it leading up to this time of year. But we used to play Strato a lot, Andy and I, and I don't know if anybody hasn't tried it out there, go get you a Stratomatic team. It's just a really fun format.
You learn so much about the players, just the stats and everything. It's just really fun too. It's just kind of like a way for you to somewhat simulate what it would be like if guys from this era played against guys from this era, and who would fare well, who wouldn't fare so well. Some of the guys that are all-time greats become somewhat average players, and it's kind of surprising some of the guys that end up doing very well on there.
Some of the weird situations you'd get where, Joe Evans would, have 40 triples for you in a season, and, he might not hit a home run, but he'd have 40 triples somehow.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Burt Blyleven would have 400 strikeouts, somehow, but he might have a losing record because he give up, 50 home runs.
Oh yeah, because you could definitely stack a lineup on that game.
So who would you say maybe the three strangest players on there that would be pretty ridiculously good? Do you remember some of the guys? Are you talking about just the guys that are the most dominant? Yeah, maybe most dominant, but you wouldn't expect. Obviously Ruth and some of these guys you expect, but
Rogers Hornsby. Hornsby's dominant.
Lajoie and Hornsby are pretty phenomenal in the game.
Lajoie, Hornsby. I'm trying to think here. It's been a while since we played.
Ralph Kiner hit about 80 home runs a year.
Ralph Kiner, yeah. Roger Maris. I've had him before. Hit over 100 home runs in a season.
Yeah, Jack Clark.
Jack Clark. Yeah.
He walked about 190 times and hit 60 home runs, and
he was ridiculous on that game. Who else was there? There was several.
Was Dazzy Vance. He would just have some ridiculous seasons.
There were several guys on that game that was almost like a cheat code.
Yes.
Who's the guy that freaking walked all the time? The second baseman. He wasn't even that good of a hitter.
My gosh.
Eddie something. Stanky.
Eddie Stanky.
Eddie Stanky, yeah. The guy freaking walked like he would hit like 200 and his on base percentage would be like 450 or something.
I know.
Walked
he was a good guy. Yeah, him and then what's the guy? McGraw, John McGraw.
Oh yeah, John McGraw. He was a terrible fielder apparently on there. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think he was good for 30-something errors a year on there.
Yeah, there were several guys like that were just terrible defensively, but man, they could hit.
Maury Wills was so terrible, but he'd steal you, 120 bases.
Yeah, I think was it Babe Herman that was another guy that could just
Babe Herman. Yeah, doubles. He did a lot of doubles.
He could just hit the crap out of it. He couldn't field for anything though. That's a fun game, and it's just a great way to get to learn about a lot of the players that some people may not know about.
I like that era.
I kind of want to go play it now, but
we have to get a team. What we need to do is next episode we need a live draft, or we need to not draft, but we need to live selecting our teams.
Oh yeah, select the teams.
Well, yeah, we put it up on the screen and just show what we're selecting or who we're selecting.
We could select some teams and then do a feature each episode where we just kind of update people on how our team's doing.
We could do that. We need to do it with our fantasy baseball too. Next week we talked about doing something, with coinciding with the baseball season starting.
Yeah, I think next week maybe we can do a little bit of a baseball preview. We could kind of pick who we think's going to win each division, who we think are going to win some of the awards. who you think's going to have like a breakout year, who's going to be a bust. Just pick some of the stuff like that.
You want to know who's going to be a bust? I'll tell you right now. Everybody that's on my fantasy baseball teams.
Well, I kind of feel the same about my team. Some of the guys I have may not even be good enough to be considered a bust.
That's true. That's true. They just even with their performance level.
Yeah. I have a bunch of has-beens and never were's.
That's right. Yeah. It's I mean, Brando, he just has a bunch of guys that might not even make a major league roster this year.
Yeah, I was looking at his team. He does have I don't know that he even has enough pitchers to like fill the active spots right now.
I saw that. That's a unique strategy when you're trying to win. I'm just saying.
It's a bold strategy. See how it works for him. All right. Well, you got anything else for tonight?
Man, not really. I'm still looking for nice cards. I'm on the hunt of 3 or 4 pretty darn nice cards. So hopefully I have some more stuff to show. I did pick up one more monster card that I'll have in early next week. So next episode I'll have one more big card to show. At least one more. Hopefully I'll pick up some more between now and then.
I'm hoping to make like maybe one more, pretty big purchase before I kind of like shut it down and start saving up to go to the National. I'm hoping maybe to, fit one more pretty nice card in before then. So I'm on the lookout. So we'll see what I come up with.
Just remember that that's why banks exist, to loan you money. So if you make more than one big purchase between now and then, you can go down. They'll give you a lot of money if you just act like you have money to pay it back with.
Well, that's what it would be. It would be acting. So I'll have to work on my acting chops. Yeah, I'll probably try to pick up one more pretty good card before the show, and then I mean between now and then, like I'll probably do some smaller stuff, but just like one, pretty good purchase, and then kind of shut down the larger purchases at least until this summer for the show. So
I don't blame you. That's probably the way to go. Or if you got a bunch of little stuff built up, it's a good time to sell that stuff, and
that's what I tend to do.
Big chunk of change and then put it towards going to the National and maybe buying 1 or 2 big cards.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking to do, is kind of move some of the and I'll probably do this like over the course of the next few months, move some of the volume stuff, just try to try to upgrade to bigger stuff.
Like that right there.
Yeah, I see that in the background there. I'm
moving volume. That's what I'm doing.
What all different players do you have in those stacks?
It's primarily just one player.
I can't believe it. It's Grant Hill.
There's a few of them there. Yeah,
I can't believe it.
That entire stack right there, and about 5,000 other cards over there are all Grant Hill.
Yeah.
I do have a couple thousand probably other players that I need to move. But I haven't started on those yet. But I need to. I've got baseball, basketball, and some football to move. That is not Grant Hill. Obviously, Grant Hill didn't play baseball and football, but so I've got some other stuff besides his. But obviously, he's going to eat up the bulk.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. Kind of like looking forward to picking up something big, and then kind of shutting it down for the big show this summer.
If you're looking for any Grant Hill cards, I happen to know a guy that might have some available for you.
Yeah, I know all about that guy.
His ankles can't hurt you now.
I got to get off here and get some sleep after this Thunder debacle tonight. I'm still upset about it. I'll probably actually go watch the highlights or lowlights on NBA TV. Yeah, just try to figure out like how we played so badly.
Well, they have better players than we do. That's how.
I'm not going to admit that.
Tonight they did.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just not going to admit it.
Understood.
All right. Well, we'll call it a night and try to come back next week with a little bit of a baseball preview, and we'll try to think of a few more. Probably won't have any more cat stories next week, will we?
God, I hope not. That'd be bad. I hope not. No more cat stories.
Yeah, no more cat stories. Probably no more me feeling sorry for myself about the Thunder getting destroyed.
Yeah,
probably be a little more of an upbeat program next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully we can do a baseball preview next episode, and then maybe a couple out, do a playoff preview for basketball.
Yeah, that'd be fun too.
They're right around the corner.
Yeah.
What are they always? Right around the 1st of May, I believe.
Yeah, I think there's like around 12 games left in the regular season NBA. So yeah, it'll be.
Yeah, they basically play every other night, so you're looking at late April.
Yeah, when they're done. Yeah, I'll be done in 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, so we're getting close.
All right, guys. Thanks for anyone that stuck through all this, and we've made it to what is this, 5, 6? I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes, and somehow there's still people watching. So we appreciate that.
Keep asking questions, comments. Keep talking about how bad Andy is and how smart I am, and this should keep going for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right, guys. Have a good one. Catch you next week.